Aaron, another thing we're having trouble with right now, I guess, is distribution. So we're making a lot of content. Like every single day, we have like a 40 minute to an hour podcast, right? And it's like good. Like our guests, we can get consistently. We're not having too much trouble with that. It's the view count. We don't necessarily like It's just like we want people to hear the podcast and hear these guests. And right now we're only like on Instagram and then on YouTube and then of course like on Anchor, so that's on like Spotify, whatever. But we're not too good in marketing, so I don't know what is your advice.
Well, just for, I mean, content marketing, you're doing the podcast.
Hmm.
So I always say that if you're going to get into the online game, influencer game, all that stuff, laptop lifestyle, yada, yada, you have to at least have either a YouTube channel, a podcast, or a blog. You guys seem to have podcasts and YouTube. So you knocked out two of them. People don't read blogs as much anymore. Instagram is the new blogging, so it doesn't really matter. And then combine that with one of the second tier social media platforms, which I say is like, Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or LinkedIn, preferably be on all of them in some capacity, but really just focus on one or two. And then from those one or two, it's the same as like getting a guest. It's just, except you're doing it to random people that may have interest in your show.
Hmm.
So sending DMs for 25 or 30 DMs, not to guest prospects, but to just regular people, and saying, hey, if they liked your picture or if they liked another picture or whatever, just say, hey, notice you interacted with this picture. Just wanted to reach out real quick, introduce myself, and let you know I have a podcast about this where I get free information about this. And if they're interested in that, then they might listen. So it's important to target like possible listeners that are following accounts that are in your niche. So your niche is what?
Everything.
Well, we're kind.
And I'll be the first stone to overturn first.
No, look, we've had medical people, artists, scientists, we had the psychologists, we had computer makers, we had, we're trying to cover every single walk of life, every aspect of life. Just talk about their interest,
Okay, but I understand that, and I do the same thing. Essentially, like, but different people, different influencers, and they all have different stories. But it's kind of all tied back to the same thing: is like, how did they grow their online presence? How do they go about that? And how can you, as a listener, implement their advice for yourself? So that's kind of the common string, but different stories every time. So it keeps it interesting, keeps me interested, keeps it fun, but it's also consistent for the listener.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. So I don't know if you guys spin it like that. If you're trying to learn exactly how they got to where they are, like their mindset, you're focusing on more, or strategies for social, or all of it. But I would just say to dice down on specifically what you might be helping them with. And if it's similar to mine, that's great. I would reach out to a lot of people that follow, online business accounts or entrepreneurship-based accounts or motivational accounts, because those are the people that probably have interest in making some semblance of this happen for themselves in some capacity.
Ali, could you pull up our YouTube channel? I don't know if could you share it? So, because we kind of like right now we have like we do cover a lot of bases, but we've like segmented them into, now that we have like 70 episodes, we've split them into like 5 different categories. There's like A2 science, and then A2 music, and then A2 what else do we have? Society and culture, right? And A2 gaming, right? So like, should we like just take that and then try to like, I guess like have treated like 5 different podcasts at once and try to reach out to like people with each playlist, or I don't know.
Yeah. So it's going to be real hard for you to be
like you had like playlists
consistent with all of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have all. Yeah. So, I mean, initially how people get traction online is you start out serving one type of person, right? I'm sure you guys know Gary, and Gary started out as a wine guy, and now he's a guy about everything online business and marketing mindset. But he started out as a wine guy, and a lot of people have to break through starting out as something specific.
I see.
So, I mean, my advice, you're doing amazing work, but my advice, if you really want to grow, would be to focus on one of these segments, like really focus on one of the segments and push that one most of the time. And then once you grow that, you could probably branch out to the other ones.
I see.
But it's just hard because there's so many different podcasts and choices out there for different things. that if you're talking about everything, then you're probably not going to be a master of all of them. You'll probably be mediocre at all of them.
That's why we bring all the masters here. That's why we bring you on, Aaron.
Pretty much,
exactly.
yeah.